Antigua Sail Week. This is a week that might be described as a sailor's Roman holiday, held every year at the end of April. Started out in 1967 with only a few people and a few boats participating, but now thousands of people and over 100 boats are involved. Now, the original idea was for people to fly down and use the resident charter fleet for racing. Now, 3/4 of the fleet are sailed in by their owners from all directions just for the sailing week, from U.S., Canada, England, Europe, South America, and the Caribbean islands. The quality of boats is way up. Competition is less relaxed. And that's why they're getting up the mizzen staysail here on this catch. The yawl that just passed us by needs to be challenged. Years ago, when a boat would pass you by, they just say, well, that boat seems to be faster than us, and then sit back and relax, but no more. And you notice they aren't putting up a spinnaker. That is just a jib that's winged out. This is the cruising class here, and they don't allow spinnakers. Spinnakers are on the ocean racing division. Now, aboard this boat, the owner has 10 guests and a paid crew of 4. And one of the paid crew is Gerard on the right there, and a young Antiguan, Jolson. Now, Gerard's wife is aboard, and they are both French cooks, trained in Paris, no less. So they both cook and work the deck, a very handy couple. Now, we've caught up to the yawl that passed us by earlier. They've since put up a large mizzen spinnaker here to try and maintain their lead, but now it's mark turning time, since the leeward mark is right ahead. Well, on some of the boats, it's hard to tell the men from the women from this distance anyway, because they both wear the same thing, long hair and shorts, period. So around the leeward mark. And right after rounding the mark, come about. Now, as I said earlier, the young French couple both cook and work the deck. Her name is Jeanette, and she's good at everything on deck and in the galley. Now, this boat has a professional captain. He's standing up there. You can see part of him. He is very interested in this boat's winning today. The more honors, the more recognition, meaning more charters for him when the boss is not aboard. Well, in his eagerness to win, he kept everyone else from having the helm during yesterday's race, and that did not sit well with the owner. So they had some sharp words last night, and the setup is different today. Now, the owner here, he's quite a sport, and he likes to have fun on his boat, and he likes his guests to have fun too. If they want to take the helm and feel up to it, well, that's what he wants them to do. And he likes to take the helm himself once in a while, and doesn't like the professional captain hogging the helm. And besides tailing sheets and grinding a few winches, why, the owner, he likes to call shots on sail trim now and again, as well as call a few tactics. Matter of fact, the owner likes to call the shots, period. After this week was over, he fired the captain. Coming into the finish, a first place seemed to be in the bag for us, but working up fast on our lee was the famous racing yacht of the 1950s named Bolero. When her original owner, John Nicholas Brown, sold her, why, she's been through many owners, and now she's in the Caribbean charter game and in good shape. If we had to lose to another boat, she was a great one to lose to. The finish of this 23-mile-long day race was right off a place called Curtain Bluff. The schooner was one end of the finish line. And eventually, over 100 boats would anchor here by the Curtain Bluff Hotel for the night. The hotel is one of the better hostelries on the island, owned by the man who first thought up Antigua Sail Week in 1967. And the bluff is great for hotel cabanas with its nice beach, and ought to be great protection for the boats that will be anchored in the cove behind it this afternoon. But it wasn't. There was a rock and roll anchorage for the night. But right now, who cares? The steel band was playing. Steel band started playing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the boats started first coming in, and would play right through a lobster bake barbecue buffet dinner on into the night. Dr. Pepper is a high stepper. Now she's wearing her complete three-piece wardrobe for the week. Bikini and evening shorts, that's all she needs. Hair today, caught in a winch tomorrow. Someone took a wrong turn off a Rocky Mountain trail. Well, the next day found me aboard a sloop from Dallas, Texas, named Arbitrage. And arbitrage is a stock market term relating to profit, somewhat like a middleman's markup, which paid for this boat. The owner, Skipper, believes that white is right and cleanliness is next to winningness with his white uniforms here. And his name is Dean Guerin on the left there with a cap. And this is the start of the last race of the week, which takes the fleet from Curtain Bluff back to English Harbor, where it started earlier in the week. This is the start of the race.
50. Let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. Speed.
Okay, you got a barger.
Just fire underneath this guy, John.
Go down.
40. Hold this course. You got it wired. Hold this course. Keep it up.
Keep going. 35 seconds. You're okay, you're okay.
We'll never be late.
Trim for speed, guys. Go for it. 25.
Trim for speed. Come on, trim for speed. In on everything. Let's go. Crank it in.
Take it right on up. Take him up. Take him up.
50. Go on up. Go on up. Go on up. Go on. Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Nice start.
Wee. A fairly desperate but good start. And the sailor making all the noise there, or most of the noise, was Scott Self, a real tiger here at the helm. He makes everyone else on the boat look like they're in reverse. But after that highly emotional start, why, Tiger's father thought he would take over the helm for a little cooler beat to the windward mark. So Dean Guerin, the owner, had a good portion of the Self family aboard, Father Alden, son Scott, and daughter Becky. And Becky is there tailing a sheet. Well, it was great fun pouring through the fleet on starboard tack, passing ahead of boats many feet larger than we were. But then there were the smaller boats right up with us also, so we didn't get overconfident. Then Tiger Scott took the helm again, and things livened up as he's frantically looking for a safe place to tack to get around the windward mark. They're coming from the left. They're coming from the right. They're behind us. They're in front of us. Now I know what General Custer looked like on his day. And around the mark we go. Little splash in the face. Now Scott was capable of doing anything on the boat better than anybody else, or so it seemed. He had his steel trap mind on steering, navigation, tactics, sail trim, all at the same time. But after a while, even those elements weren't enough to keep him occupied. He had a movie camera down below that needed using. And he picked a good subject, too. Off on our port was a brand new sloop named Circus Maximus. And after a slow windward leg, she was now tearing through the fleet, passing to leeward in this case, and messing up the boat to windward. And now passing this green spinnaker sloop to windward. But now watch Circus Maximus and her ability to surf. Along comes a swell there. She lifts up her bustle and away she goes. And that's exactly what she was designed to do, to go like a bomb to leeward, forget it to windward was the philosophy of the design. There was no way a round-bottom boat of like size could keep up going off the wind. But we thought we'd at least try, so up with the spinnaker staysail, and he says you got her in just right. 2 months later, Circus Maximus was in the Bermuda race, which is 635 miles long. And to get to the finish, she traveled further than any other boat in the race, 840 miles. Did that to find following breezes. And she found them all right, and in spite of the mileage, was the first boat to finish ahead of 161 other boats who traveled a shorter distance. That mark ahead was merely a dog's leg in the course. We would take a slight right turn and jibe around it. CB on the buoy meant that Curtain Bluff Hotel was supplying the marks today. Always nice to have a good percentage of your own class behind you, especially when they look so pretty. After jibing the mark, we put up the mizzen, or the spinnaker staysail again. Now during this exercise, one of the crew tried to use his head as a winch handle, and that didn't work too well, and he's not feeling too sharp right now. But he was okay for the party that night. Leeward mark coming up, the traffic is terrific. So in anticipation of some tight and crowded maneuvering near the mark, they're dropping the spinnaker about a minute earlier than usual. Well, when you do this a minute earlier, there's always those behind you who aren't dropping that early, except for the one on the left there. There are 3 here who are pouring down on our transom at a higher rate of speed. And all we can do is pray they drop them now and stop moving so fast. Now on the foredeck, watch Tiger Scott up there. He is encouraging the helmsman to move in closer to the mark. Come on, move in there. And I thought we got pretty close to that mark, but not him. Hands on hips in disgust. So once again, fight our way to windward. Well, the weather this week was positively beautiful. Sunshine every day and 14 to 18 knot winds. On some of these Antigua sailing weeks, the wind drops to a dead calm and sometimes goes to a full gale. Too much wind. But this week, just right, 14 to 18 knots. Another dog's leg mark on the course. Some of these courses they set up along the Antigua shore here were really tricky. They'd send you up and down and back and around and over and across, and you really had to study the course carefully before you took off on these races, or you might get lost. So at the finish, Tiger says, head her up, head her down, anywhere but straight ahead, as we crossed the line. So we weren't sure just how we did, but figured we'd done pretty well. And that was the last race of the week of 4 races. And a final return to English Harbor, where is kept the largest captain and crewed charter fleet in the Caribbean. Very few bareboat charters out of here. Well, I had a great race day aboard Arbitrage, and I waved thanks and goodbye to them and headed back to my original boat. It turned out that Arbitrage won the race that day and then won her division for the week, and owner Dean Guerin picked up his prize, culminating another wonderful Antigua sailing week.